Welcome, bienvenidos. This is Roxana for Rox Reads, and today we're going to have a new segment for Vlogmas Day 4. I'm hoping to include this in later episodes on the channel, but for now, I'm just using this as an excuse to do a little research on words that I don't get why we're using them. These are words that are very much prevalent on social media platforms, and that their overuse kind of signals to me that they might not be used in the proper context. So today's first word, the first word that we're going to do this segment on is the word gaslighting. And I went to Google, the great Google, and the first definition that I saw, which is similar to two other definitions, which is why I'm reading the Wikipedia, because it is more or less the same as the other two dictionaries that I checked. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation that seeks to sow seeds of doubt in a targeted individual or in members of a targeted group, making them question their own memory, perception, and sanity. I did notice that most of the definitions were talking about sanity. They were not talking about perceptions or memory. They were specifically going for this idea of questioning their sanity. Why did I decide to choose this particular word? Well, because I see it on social media all the time, and when people don't want to use the word bullying, they use the word gaslighting. The best example I can give you is one of my favorite expressions is agree to disagree. That is not meant as an insult to anybody. That is not meant to downplay your view on a topic or make me feel better about my view on a topic. It means what it says. We can agree that we don't agree, which is why agree to disagree. So imagine my surprise when several people were accusing me of gaslighting for using that expression, which made me start thinking about whether or not people are so stressed out and so ready for a fight on social media that not only are they overusing the term gaslighting, but they're also using it when it's not appropriate or it makes no sense because they're in their feelings, instead of actually trying to see what the other person is trying to say. Now, why do I say that? Well, I can't help but notice that the people in question are always the 3 or 4 people that have done this to me in the last year, I would say. They all have the mentality that they're being victimized in some way or another. Now, I'm not saying that they're not victims because I don't live in their skin. I don't know. But by all intents and purposes, it seems to me that whenever somebody says something that they don't like, oh, you're attacking me. And so it made me very curious about the word gaslighting. Now, I don't know I know where the word gaslighting comes from, but I don't know why it became so popular in recent years. I mean, to be honest with you, the first 40 years of first 45 years of my life, I rarely heard the word gaslighting. And in the last year, I've pretty much heard it every other day for a million reasons that I sit there and I go, well, I didn't take that as the person gaslighting you. And you have to understand, when you're not in a situation, if you don't have a side, if you didn't pick a side on a particular argument and you see one person telling the other, you're gaslighting me, and you honestly don't think they were gaslighting the other person, it makes it a little harder to side with the person that feels attacked when everything is an attack. That's what I'm trying to say. So what can you do if you're one of those people that feels like you're being gaslighted for everything? My suggestion is to take a step back. If you really feel like everybody's attacking you, and people seem to be confused by you accusing them of attacking you, maybe the problem doesn't lie with them, it lies with you. Like I always say, if the common denominator in every argument is you, maybe you are the problem and not the other person. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to feel gaslighted, by the way, What I'm saying is that maybe you're taking something as offensive when it really shouldn't be. And this is something that and it's not just the young, but people that are very passionate about things tend to complain about what they do. Let's put it that way. They spend the entire day throwing matches at things, and you know what throwing matches means, and then complain when they feel gaslighted. You judge based on what you know. We all do. And so if you feel like somebody's gaslighting you, maybe it's time you take a step back, look at the entire situation, and think if you really are being gaslit or not. To give you an example based on what I was saying before, when I say agree to disagree, I just want to let the person know that I see what they're saying and I understand what they're saying, but I don't agree with them. That's all that is intended with that expression. It is not intended for you to get into an argument with me. If anything, it is intended for you to understand that, yes, I understand what you're saying, but I still don't agree with you. And so when I see people getting all bent out of shape over stuff that really doesn't matter, because most of the time people are complaining about stuff that's really not that deep, and they come at me with the attitude, now you're gaslighting me. No, I'm not gaslighting you, because the problem is that you are assuming the meaning that I'm giving to the words. So maybe taking a step back. I remember my dad used to tell me, because I used to be one of those people that shot from the hip, whatever that means. And he used to tell me, every time you feel the need to attack somebody because you think they're attacking you, count to 10 before you say anything. And what happens is that you count to 10. Sometimes he would tell me, I would tell him, okay, I counted to 10. Are you still mad? And I would say yes. And he goes, count to 50. And what he was doing was, taking the heat out of the situation for as long as possible. And sometimes he would make me count to 100 because I was still heated. But then by the time I got to 100, I was like, Pop, what are you doing? And he would say, are you still mad? And I'm like, well, not as much. Exactly. Instead of coming out of anger, take a step back, take a deep breath, count to 10, count to 1,000,000. I don't care. But actually, instead of always being on the attack, try to figure out if the problem lies in your interpretation of the situation and not necessarily the situation at hand. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.